A stolen car, a police pursuit, and in moments, tragedy. This is the intersection where two young women lost their lives, a child was hurt, and three dogs were caught in the chaos. One so badly injured it had to be put down. What began as a morning carjacking in South Minneapolis ended here, in a violent crash that shut down Highway 55 and drew a massive emergency response. Today, investigators are piecing together the timeline, and the police chief is about to speak.
Good morning. My name is Brian O'Hara, B-R-I-A-N, O''H-A-R-A. I am the Minneapolis police chief. I am joined by Captain Gordon Shank, Gordon Shank. He's a captain with the Minnesota State Patrol. I want to provide an initial briefing on a very tragic sequence of events that began in South Minneapolis just after 8 a.m. today. Just after 8 a.m., Minneapolis police officers in the 3rd Precinct responded to reports of a person with a gun near East Lake Street and 4th Avenue South. Those calls were quickly updated to a carjacking in progress. Callers indicated that a male suspect had been driving a maroon Ford Explorer in a flagrantly reckless manner, swerving into oncoming traffic, speeding, and even driving up on the sidewalks along Lake Street. That individual then crashed. The driver of that Explorer exited, pulled a handgun, and attempted to carjack a person that was stopped at the red light. That initial victim drove off and was not carjacked. After that, this suspect then pulled a gun on another woman operating a black Volkswagen. She was then violently carjacked of her vehicle. The suspect then fled in her vehicle before then circling back to the scene and retrieving 3 dogs from the crashed Red Explorer. We have multiple reports from the community that the suspect was firing gunshots as he fled in the victim's vehicle. Shortly thereafter, about 8:19 a.m., Minneapolis police received a call that this Volkswagen was now driving recklessly through downtown Minneapolis. Minneapolis police then tracked the carjacked vehicle to the north side, where at about 8:36 a.m., Minneapolis police officers from the 4th Precinct initiated a vehicle pursuit. That vehicle pursuit then ended tragically 3 minutes later when the suspect crashed into an innocent person's vehicle that was not involved in the incident. That crash occurred at this intersection. Minneapolis police officers were not involved in the crash. 2 adults in that vehicle have been pronounced deceased at the scene. A child in that vehicle has suffered life-threatening injuries. The child in the vehicle has suffered non-life-threatening injuries, has been transported to the hospital, and is expected to survive. The suspect has been taken into custody from the scene here and is being treated at North Memorial for non-life-threatening injuries. A firearm has been recovered from the carjacked Volkswagen. 3 dogs that were in the carjacked Volkswagen were also recovered, and animal control has taken possession of them. 2 of the 3 dogs were injured, and 1 of the 3 has been euthanized. This is a very devastating incident with very heartbreaking consequences for completely innocent people. Our officers worked very quickly, as best they could, in an attempt to get a very violent and dangerous criminal off the street before anyone else could be harmed. This is an outcome that we never want, as 2 innocent lives have been taken from us because of one person's violent and reckless behaviors. Our thoughts are with the families of those who are suffering this unimaginable loss. But this is exactly why we take carjackings and gun crimes so seriously, because they put every member of our community at risk. There remains an open and active investigation, and we will confirm additional details as we are able. The Minnesota State Patrol is conducting the investigation into the crash. The Hennepin County Sheriff's Office Crime Lab has taken possession of the suspect's firearm. There was one discharged shell casing recovered from inside the carjacked Volkswagen. And there was also damage from gunfire inside the vehicle on the passenger side. The Minneapolis police is conducting the robbery investigation from the original incident on Lake Street this morning. The MPD will also conduct a review of the vehicle pursuit as per our policy. Again, that information is all preliminary. As we have it, I have one image that I can share with you from the original scene on Lake Street, if you're able to see it. That's the maroon Ford Explorer shortly after it was crashed by the suspect and the suspect with the gun attempting a carjacking.
Burton, will you be emailing that to us?
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll send that out with the release.
Chief O'Hara,
And with that, we'll take some questions.
Chief O'Hara, can you state the relationship between the two deceased adults and the child?
I cannot. The question was the relationship between the deceased adults. We have not confirmed. It's two adult females that are pronounced deceased at the scene, and one child approximately 5 or 6 years of age.
Do we know approximate speed on the chase?
Trooper?
Good morning, Captain Shank with State Patrol. So that would be part of our investigation. Right now we're doing a crash reconstruction. We're investigating the crash itself. All that information will be provided at a later time. Right now it's an open investigation, and our thoughts and prayers right now are with the victims involved, and these fatal crashes are challenging for everybody. We want to make sure we get it right. So we'll get that information once we have our crash reconstruction troopers do further investigation.
Chief, can you talk about just what pursuit policies are within MPD? Yeah. I know that you're reviewing if this was followed or not, but can you just talk about briefly what that looks like for MPD?
Yep. The question was about the Minneapolis police pursuit policy. We've been criticized recently because of all the smash and grabs and stolen cars that have affected literally hundreds of residents for having a pursuit policy that does not allow pursuits in those cases. This result is the reason why we have such stringent policies. We have to balance the need to apprehend, in this case, a dangerous and violent gunman with the risk that these pursuits pose to the public. So we limit our pursuits only to those cases where we believe an immediate apprehension is necessary to protect the community from a violent criminal, and we don't necessarily know who that person is and not necessarily able to wait to make an apprehension at a later time. So that's why the Minneapolis police policy for vehicle pursuits is so stringent.
So this obviously rose to the level
Yes.
of...
Very clearly, yes.
How far back was the squad from the car when it crashed?
I don't have specific information as to that at this time.
But it was pursuing the vehicle when it crashed
Yes.
into the other car.
Do you know this?
There was a marked, fully marked Minneapolis police squad car that was in pursuit.
And was it just one in pursuit?
I don't have full information on that at this time. That'll be reviewed. Yep.
Was this suspect known to you prior to today?
I don't have the identity of the suspect at this time.
What was the original incident? You said a robbery. Was that the
Yes.
carjacking, or is it a separate robbery?
So the original incident that we know at this time were initially the reports of a carjacking, which involved the suspect driving recklessly prior to this, driving on the sidewalk, speeding, swerving into oncoming traffic, crashing the original vehicle they were in, then getting out and at gunpoint attempting to carjack someone stopped at the light who drove off before they were carjacked, and then carjacking the victim of the black Volkswagen, which was involved in the crash here.
And the black Volkswagen.
And then firing shots after that before fleeing the scene.
And with the dogs in that black Volkswagen, that was...
So the question was the dogs in the black Volkswagen. They were originally in the maroon Explorer with the suspect. I don't believe they have any chips or tags, so we have not been able to confirm ownership on the dogs. But they were with the suspect in that original vehicle. Suspect came back and took the 3 dogs from the original vehicle with him in the carjacked Volkswagen. Yes, sir.
The victim car stopped on the light or was moving?
I can't hear. I'm sorry.
The victim car was stopped on the light or was it moving?
Your question was asking if the vehicle was moving at the time of the crash.
Yeah.
That's part of our investigation to determine the speeds of the vehicles.
Was she stopped at the light or she was moving?
Correct. We're working through the investigation, and additional information will be released on our media webpage pertaining to the crash itself. You can find that on our website. So preliminary investigation shows the vehicle was moving north on Penn Avenue at the time of the crash. So, but that
What speed they were doing, the person?
speeds are under investigation. That's part of our crash reconstruction investigation. That's all information that we will be able to obtain as we further investigate this crash.
If I can add to that, though, the question was speed of the suspect's vehicle. We have multiple 911 callers and people from the community complaining about the speed of this person's vehicle and the reckless manner that they were driving prior to the pursuit. In South Minneapolis, in downtown, and then in North Minneapolis prior to the pursuit. So the suspect was clearly operating in an extremely reckless manner prior to the vehicle pursuit beginning.
Do you know when we might get a suspect ID?
We're working on that. I just don't have that now.
Was the suspect taken to Hennepin County Jail or to the hospital?
The suspect was taken to the hospital.
Lastly, Chief O'Hara, I mean, you're dealing with innocent victims here. You guys have already had a very difficult week. Can you talk about the fact that we're dealing with people who were just in their car driving their kid around?
Yeah.
Innocent victims here are what we're dealing with. Can you comment on that?
Our hearts absolutely go out to the families who have been impacted here. They're absolutely completely innocent, just going about their lives. And unfortunately, because of one person's reckless and violent behavior, armed with a gun, firing it in our city, attempting to carjack one person, carjacking someone else, and then continuing to drive throughout the city in such a reckless manner, this person clearly endangered hundreds of people's lives in our city in such a short period of time. And there are not words to describe, the tragedy, the permanence of this tragedy here. And it is absolutely something that we do everything possible to try and avoid, while at the same time trying to protect our community from people who are acting like this in the first place.
Do we know if anyone else was hurt in the discharge of the gun?
We have no reports of injuries from the discharge of the firearm. There's several different witnesses and callers. It's unclear if he was firing at a specific person or firing that's unclear because we have some conflicting eyewitness reports.
Do we know anything about the gun? What type of gun it was? Legal?
I don't have that. It's been recovered by the sheriff's office crime lab process the same way.
Well, I just want clarification. So is that black sedan there? Is that
That's a black Volkswagen, was carjacked on East Lake Street.
And then have you guys taken possession of the Explorer too?
That was, I believe that was recovered at the original scene. It was abandoned and recovered.
There was 3 cars involved, including the victims.
So the original vehicle was left on Lake Street that the suspect had. There is the carjacked Volkswagen from Lake Street involved in an accident here with a third party. That's it.
3 cars total.
3 cars total, 2 of them operated by the suspect.
Okay, got it.
Yep.
Do you know the gender of the child that was not met from the injuries?
Do we know the gender of the... I do not, I'm sorry.
All right, thank you.
From all of us at Scape News, thank you for watching and staying informed. We'll keep tracking the story and others that matter to you as they happen in real time. Stay safe, stay aware, and we'll see you in the next report.